2 more Tuesdays to go, and then Ohio State will be back on the practice field. It'll probably be that many more Tuesdays until we actually talk to Ryan Day. But we can talk to Television's Adam King right now. It's Talking Tuesday on the Beat, presented by the Waterworks. He, of course, is Adam King of 10 TV.
I'm sorry. That's Television's Adam King.
Television's Adam King. I am radios and podcasts.
I love it.
Austin Ward. And I've given up. I just don't think that the press conferences are going to happen until the start of camp.
That's fair. Ryan's on a boat.
He's getting off of a boat today.
He's getting off of a boat, but he's been boating around the Buckeye cruise for cancer.
You can actually hear from him on 10 TV.
On 10 TV. Dom Tiberi caught up with him a little bit to talk about everything. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to talk about everything and give our biggest questions. So, Austin, what's your first... Oh, no, that's my job.
This is your job.
Yeah, that's right.
This is the one where I just sit back and relax and wait to hear what's got you fired up.
I cannot believe that we're 2 weeks from spring practice.
Life comes at you fast.
We've talked so much about leaderships and captains, which I really enjoyed that conversation last week. Mm-hmm. Credit to us. Great conversation.
Oh, wow.
No. My thought.
Let me put you on the
Yeah, there you go. My thought with that, though, is like, if you could, anything I could know right now, I think I would want to ask Mickey Marotti and say, who's the guy that is most surprising you? And who's the guy that's like stepping up? Because this is where, I mean, I think Brandon Ennis last year really became a captain in that moment.
Yeah.
This is where those guys that we're not thinking of really make themselves heard. So I'm curious if there's any guy that's just absolutely just taken over in a very surprising manner. That kind of builds up off of our captain conversation. And then the other side conversation, just you keep talking, spring ball is almost here.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody realizes this, but the spring game, I no longer think gives a good glimpse into what's going on in the Woody.
Okay.
Do you disagree?
I think the change to the transfer portal window only being in January and not having a second opportunity in April is going to probably push teams back, hopefully Ohio State included, into having real practices.
Okay, so that's
I don't know that.
No, we did not plan it. That's kind of exactly what I was thinking, is that I feel...
The last several years, I would say, yeah, those were pretty lame.
Yeah, and it's not even lame. It's just the idea that the top stars were not... The spring game was pretty much, let's see how these third-string guys are doing, and then everybody would grab it, and they'd be like, there it is. There's wide receiver 1, Mylan Graham. And you're like,
don't remind me.
Yeah, well, there you go. It happens all the time. Who was there's been a lot of spring game stars that
when I arrived to start covering this team, they would say this is the Bam Childress Award for most outstanding spring game. I was not around for those.
Gotcha.
But I've certainly heard many tales of his exploits in April and how those did not carry over into the season. I can't think of a ton of other examples of that from the Ohio State time, because in the last several years, to your point, Adam, they have become not even real practices. They have been like on-air practices and not taking players to the ground. What we saw on Student Appreciation Day, some of the other scrimmages last year in March were full contact, including the quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. And those were way more substantial and way more valuable for trying to figure out where Ohio State was coming out of winter workouts and projecting that into the future roster than the spring game was. I am hopeful, I'm optimistic that because you're not worried about putting on a showcase for someone to come tamper with your roster, which we saw some programs just outright cancel
their spring games because of it.
Yeah, did some of that. Like, well, we can't put them out there. We don't want people to see it.
Yeah.
Maybe we're going to go the other way now, and we can actually get a last opportunity to max it out. I'm not saying go Bloody Tuesday on April 18th, but some live-ish football?
Do you think that changes... This was not the next question. I wish I had a notepad because I got to remember I had a different question.
Well, I think what people like is about Talking Tuesday is just all of the content I'm on is that there's no script.
There's no script.
It means it's coming from the heart.
I'm going to remember that question in about 4 months and be like, that was the question. But I do want to ask you, do you think that changes the way that spring ball is handled with second and third string guys? Because I would argue that there was a tap dance going on, which is, we want to keep you because we need depth, and you want to leave because you know your depth. So how can we convince you that you're not depth, at least until that spring transfer window closes?
I know for certain that was happening.
Yeah, all across the country. That's the only way you could do it.
Yeah. I can't speak to the other programs. I know that it happened at Ohio State. And some of the players that we've talked about having gangbuster springs, and we've seen them getting reps exclusively with the one. This is not to pile on. You and I both love CJ Hicks.
That was the name I was thinking of.
But the starting reps that he had throughout the last couple of springs, I think were... Maybe I can't say I definitively know that.
Led astray, run amok. What is that? What is
Run
that?
amok.
Run amok.
I don't think it was done maliciously.
No, not at all.
And I think that CJ Hicks, we always know how competitive he was, and he thought that he was going to be in line to make an impact, and he was given every opportunity to do so. And maybe that's part of it as well, Adam, is that you're talking about veterans getting an opportunity in spring to solidify that spot. And then if you don't do it with those opportunities, well, you know that there's 20 other practices coming in August where maybe an Arvell Reese, for example, a year ago, or next year, TJ Alford or Riley Pettijohn, depending on our argument about who seizes that second starting job. That scenario is not going to play out exactly in the spring at linebacker specifically, because those guys are probably both going to play along with Christian Allegro next to Peyton Pierce. But I do think we've seen that in a number of positions where veteran guys who may be facing more legitimate competition get to stay with the ones all spring.
Do you think in any way, and going back to the CJ Hicks thing, it wasn't being led astray? I was just joking, because it really was, let's see what happens here. Yep. And I think we found along the way that it wasn't what was best for Ohio State to be successful. I just wish somebody had told us a little sooner. Those 3 weeks when we saw CJ Hicks, I was like, boy, this guy could be Arvell Reese. And then Arvell Reese was like, actually, I'll be Arvell Reese.
I'll do that.
Yeah, I'll handle that role.
Look at me. I'm that guy that's 8 feet tall and going to be the number 3 pick in the NFL draft.
Exactly. With that, I just wonder, if you're a player, put yourself in a player's shoes. You now know that there's no... This is just... Our minds work in odd ways.
Yeah.
And so if halfway through spring ball, you're frustrated and things aren't going your way in the transfer portal era, don't you think you probably say, you know what? I'm getting out of here. I'm leaving. I
think that makes you start, because in this era without rules and regulations, and where tampering is, I guess, tacitly encouraged because there's no punishment for doing it, you think, well, gosh, what were those offers that I got in December and January? And you call your agent, you call your uncle, you call your parents, whoever. You maybe just jump onto the X and into the DMs yourself and say, hey, does that offer still stand? Things aren't going very well right here. I'd love to circle back on that if we can. Yeah, I think that's definitely happened. We've seen guys shut it down, go into the transfer portal in the middle of spring practice. That, because that was the direction that it was trending. It wasn't all that common, but it did happen. I'm not saying that it did at Ohio State, but that's... You definitely get some of those signals that are coming up, because then that's not going to be the case anymore.
No,
you're going to have to push through it. I think
that's what I was.
I think that will be better for the programs. That'll be better for the coaches. That'll be better for the players.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see. I mean, players are locked in. Who was it last year that the day before the spring game entered the transfer portal? It was 2 years ago.
Oh gosh,
somebody, I can't remember, but they were slated to play in the spring game, and then they were in the portal.
No, they're gone.
Yeah, and so that's not happening.
I blocked that out of my brain.
Yeah, that's right. If you look at this spring, do you like that nice little voice crack there? I'm growing up. It's real exciting for everybody involved. I'm
just worried that voice is going to disappear now every time we talk.
No, we're good. We're good. This isn't Texas. If you look at the guys now that have to be pushed, that's the only option, is to say, okay, I've got to find a way to get myself more reps by working. That's it. Right. You're locked in. Yeah. So I'd be very intrigued to see, and we'll never know, if the players that what could have been at Ohio State, of guys that maybe if they were in a different era of the transfer portal era, if they would have succeeded in a better way. as opposed to just saying, "Hey, I'm going to hit the old portal and call it a day."
Well, it's going to be hell. Going to be hell getting back.
My other question.
Well, hold on. I want to tell you something, Adam.
Oh, I bet I know what you're going to tell me.
Do you? Well, spring camp is in 2 weeks.
Yeah, there you go.
But winter has returned to Columbus. I don't know how or why. It's gross, but winter does. There he goes. Winter doesn't wait, and neither should you. The Waterworks and Hetter Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is there to make sure your home is ready for cold mornings, icy nights, and everything in between. I hope we get more of the in between soon. Stay cozy all season long, and call the Waterworks and Hetter Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing at 614-232-2222. Are you okay?
I'm great.
I didn't know that. I didn't even get the smooth segue in there because you were just like, "Oh, I know, I'm out. I'm walking off stage."
No,
stage left.
This is a new set for us.
Stage left or stage right?
We need a cough button. There's no cough button, so I had to politely remove myself there.
Oh, very good. So you had another question that was on your mind.
Yeah, and I realized we've never debated it on here.
Oh,
and
embrace debate.
It's kind of a national topic, and I thought, well, we're going to have spring ball. For here starting in 1 week, and then we're off and running until, I don't know, maybe July when we have a minute to take a deep breath.
That'll be great.
I really hate the idea of expanding the college football playoff.
Okay.
And it burns a passion within me that I cannot explain whatsoever.
Yeah.
I was
hoping that you'd get fired up for something.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, this is the stuff, like, we never really touched on it because we're always so, but like, the idea that we just have to tinker to tinker. Mm-hmm. Can you give me one good reason, aside from money, that we should add another team to the college football playoff? Just one more, let alone 38.
Oh, I'm not allowed to say money?
No.
Oh, then no. I cannot.
No, that's it. And
go ahead. I mean,
I just don't understand it.
Tony Petitti is right there.
Yes,
he's always listening.
And it like almost really upsets me that the Big Ten is leading this charge. And I feel like, okay, you know when you root for somebody or you have like a celebrity and then they say something, you're like, oh, I didn't really, dang it, I didn't.
Never meet your heroes.
Yeah, never meet your heroes. Well, it's like, okay, cover the Big Ten. Like, I know that the Big Ten's smart enough.
They always do what's best for the college sports as a whole.
Yes.
It's camaraderie. It's collegial.
Yes.
No one is looking out for their own best interest.
No, and then you open up your phone and you're like, the Big Ten would like to have 48 teams make the college football. And I'm like, the call is coming from inside the house. What are we doing here? I don't get it.
Do you like scary movies?
There you go. I don't understand. I literally can't figure out a benefit. And if your argument is to try to tell me that Tennessee, who didn't beat a Power 5 school with the winning record last year, they deserve to be in the college football playoff. It's Looney Tunes. It's absolute Looney Tunes. And I love football with the next guy as much as any human you've ever met. But here's what really worries me is the idea that we're going to go to 38 teams, and then this is going to become March Madness. And March Madness, it's fun. It's an amazing time. Love it. It does not always crown the best team in college basketball. Very rarely does the best team in college basketball win the national title. You know how you determine a great team? You play 12 to 13 games in a regular season. Mm-hmm. Then you can throw 12 of them in a playoff. Mm-hmm. And sometimes a good team's going to lose, and that could be self-driven. That could be the idea that maybe they had an off night. But every time you add an extra playoff game, you're adding in those outside chances for an upset that isn't good for the sport.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you, Adam. And I actually feel like the NCAA basketball tournament has too many teams in it as it is. They're going to expand that too. And I think you water it down and make it worse. I think that there was a way initially, and now we're on, I think, version 53.B for Tony Petitti's expansion of the college football playoff, because there was a world where the call was coming from inside the house, and that house was saying, let's have championship weekend. And there was such poor messaging around that, where it was a side door to 24 teams, where you were having 1 versus 2 playing for the conference championship. You had the 3 versus 6 and 4 versus 5 to get to the 4 guaranteed AQ spots that were designated for the Big Ten. The SEC would have the same opportunity. I actually don't think that was the worst idea in the world, but the way that Tony Petitti and the Big Ten presented it opened up the opportunity for Greg Sankey or the ACC or the Big 12 to say, look at this guy. He just says 24 teams in the playoff. We didn't even do 16. This guy's a joke. Like, come on, play with us. Like, this is a better idea. And then it became, that's, I think, the other part of what you mentioned is like, somehow the Big Ten has allowed itself to become the villain where it spent the last 60 years saying, hey, can we all get along and let's stop the SEC from cheating and commandeering all the talent and dominating the way that the playoff or blocking the playoff. And now the rest of the college football world has now been able to rally against Tony Petitti and be like, this guy, all he cares about is money. And there's really not a counter argument against it, with every proposal that they put out is worse than the one before it.
The other thing that absolutely grinds my gears about the whole thing is like, I understand money matters and money talks, and everything in this sport is about finding money right now. I get it. And that is the crazy world that it has become. At some point, that world, it's going to stop. At some point. Maybe 5 years, 20 years, maybe never. Okay, it might never happen.
I mean, the game itself, that's what drives me crazy. I don't mean to interrupt you, but the sport and the ratings and the competitive landscape of college football is arguably better than it has ever been.
100%.
And then they're just like, you know what? We got to find a way to mess this up somehow. What can we do?
You know how you can really mess it up? By going to 24, the Big Ten carrying that flag around that says 24 teams. And then you know what the Big Ten's going to do? They're going to
get one of those trifecta shirts?
I've tried. They were sold out.
Oh.
The Big Ten is going to show up on Selection Sunday, and they're going to look around, and they're going to have 4 really good teams every year that you're like, wow, they could win a national title. And then it's going to be a tournament filled with the other 12 SEC teams. That's what, I mean, if you look at the rankings, if the Big Ten was like sitting there and they had 4 teams left out this year, they're like, no, we got to expand this. We got to get our guys in. What are you fighting Vanderbilt's fight for? Tony Petitti, Vanderbilt gets in. Tennessee gets in. The teams that get in are not going to be, I was going to say Indiana. Boy, they're the national champions. Can't use Indiana
16-0.
It's not going to be Illinois. It's going to be another SEC
Illinois is a good
school.
football team, man.
It's not going to be.
Can't wait to drink with Brett Bielema. That's still my goal.
There you go.
Maybe in Chicago that'll be easier. He knows his way around.
That's right.
Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. Can we get a podcast with Brett Bielema?
I want it so bad.
It could be fun. He's always fun at Big Ten Media Day. But I just don't understand. It's going to be more money for the SEC. And right now, that is not who you want to give. They're having money problems.
They don't have money.
Yes. And so why are we giving them more money? Why are we giving them the outlet to find answers, to get more teams in?
Yeah.
And it's just how it's going to be. And we're so good with 12 teams. Just stop it. Like when we got the news that it was going to be 12 teams, I was so happy just because they couldn't decide on it. I was like, that's great. Keep doing this. But then every day you look at your phone and it's another proposal and another proposal and another proposal. It's just obnoxious. It's not going to work. It's going to ruin the sport because think about being an Ohio State fan when Oral Roberts beat the Ohio State basketball team. Now, if you're not an Ohio State fan,
yeah,
it's a great game. You loved every minute of it. I was at the game when Purdue beat FDU. It was amazing to watch. If I was a Purdue fan, that would have been one of the worst days of all time as a Hoops fan.
Pretty dark day.
Basketball has even more variables than football. So think about the fact that if you actually have one of those championship teams from Ohio State, one of those years when you're like, wow, this is that team. Mm-hmm. And they go and, I don't know, what if your quarterback gets concussed in a game against the 16 seed? And now he's gone and your backup's playing. And the whole season is gone because you're losing a game now to Stanford, who shouldn't have even been in the playoffs, but they're in the playoffs because 48 teams are now in the playoffs.
Indiana has successfully removed itself from that conversation, and Stanford has taken over.
I apologize, Kurt. I was trying to think, what's a mid-tier Big Ten team?
Northwestern.
Let's
stick in the league.
Yeah,
here.
I was a mid-tiered Big Ten. Oh, Indiana. Oh, nope. Adam, they're the national champions.
Did you see, Adam, Alabama's addition to its 2028 schedule earlier this week?
A little bit, yes.
Yeah. So you and I have both said, well, I don't think Ohio State, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, I don't think those series are going to be played.
Very sad, yes.
And I guess I heard that there was some people at Ohio State that were upset that I was saying that. I wasn't suggesting that the Buckeyes were afraid to play those games or didn't want to play them. Like they didn't try and get out of the Texas game by any stretch of the imagination. But this was always about the SEC moving to 9 conference games. And I think Steve Sarkisian and Texas would have been very much interested in trying to get out of the Ohio State game if it wasn't too complicated and expensive to do so. Anyway, that's aside from the point. Alabama has added a 4th non-conference game for 2028. Well, they only have room for 3. Gosh, I wonder what that could possibly mean for this series that everyone was so much looking forward to, but not in Tuscaloosa.
I don't get it. We're losing what made this sport great, and it's so interesting.
Play them in the playoff.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
That's better.
Let's everybody just play an FCS team all the way through the year, and we'll pick the top 48 teams. They can all meet on a field.
Hey, you know that's not how I feel about it. I think they should play 12 Big Ten games. Ohio State.
There you go. If the SEC and it went to 12 conference games, then they would say, I think everybody should get in. I think our entire conference should get in because we play the toughest schedule.
Oh, yes. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, there you go. Every time they get to add another SEC game, they get to tell you it's a tougher schedule.
You got me there. Checkmate.
I can't, and this is, I wanted to do this today, and then we immediately jumped into a different conversation. But like this,
we still have another Talking Tuesday before camp.
Yeah, so. I know, and then I never get to talk about it again because we actually have football to talk about. But like, this is the only sport I've ever seen, and I love it with my whole heart. And it makes the wrong choice at every single turn. I don't know how, and I don't know why, but like, it just feels like the obvious answer is never the one that's chosen. I even go to the spring transfer portal. They said, we're going to 1 transfer portal window. And then everybody looked around and they're like, oh my gosh, this is chaos. Everybody's leaving. Yeah. And there were 1 million people that said, that's not going to work. Because players that would have stayed and competed in spring, they left in the fall or left in the winter because they want to make sure.
Some left in the fall.
That's true. That's true. It just feels like at every turn. But there are certain turns that you can't come back from. And once the genie is out of the bottle, as that saying goes, like once you go to 16 or 24, if it doesn't work, you can't go back because the money is going to pay. Like, listen, if all you're in it for the money, March Madness is doing real good on the money. So you're fine there. But like, if you get to 24 and you look around and go, this is a bad product. This is no longer, we're watching a game where these 2 teams shouldn't be in. You're stuck. You have ruined the sport forever, and you can't go back. Because think about this.
Well, because they'll sign contracts.
Well, but also just the idea that if I said to you right now, I think that we should go back to the BCS era, you would look at me like I was like, what in the world is this guy thinking? That's impossible. We could never do that. I said we should go back to the 14 playoff. You'd say, nope, that doesn't make any sense. I think it still would work.
If you told me right now they'd go back to 4, I'd say, sign me up for that.
I think
I don't need these 12 seeds playing. Like, it's already proven, like, it is better in a lot of ways that we're getting more football, that it's being settled on the field. There is not just, because I think the number 5th ranked team is more than capable of winning a national championship. We saw the number 8 team do that just 2 years ago. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Those teams are not going to be good enough to win 3 or 4 games against high-level competition.
Miami's a good example.
And they were on the brink of that against apparently the greatest team in the history of college football.
Northwestern?
Indiana. 2025 Indiana, I should say. The program itself, the history is a little bit more mixed. But I don't mind 4. In fact, there's a way that you could take Tony Petitti's championship weekend idea and apply that to like an 8-team playoff that's really just 4, but not playing football until January 27th, which you didn't even mention the schedule and the length of the year, but that's arguably a significant problem for college football in the current iteration as well. And they're basically just throwing up their hands and saying, well, guess what? You thought January 27th was too late? Well, wait till the year after that. It's going to be the exact same.
I just don't understand yet again how you can at every turn just it feels like when there's a fork in the road, This one's pretty apparent, and this one is...
They're just driving right through.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. It's a good way to put it.
Like, there's a sign right there. What if we mow down that sign?
I've been thinking about that for the last couple of weeks and forgetting to get it off my chest.
Okay.
And once we get to spring ball, I won't be able to.
I'm glad you did, because of the perfect opportunity for that. It's a Talking Tuesday with whatever's on Adam King's mind. He doesn't tell me beforehand.
No.
And it could go
I
anywhere.
don't know beforehand. I just say it into the microphone, and that's where we're going.
I'm glad he did. We will do it again at this time next week, and we will be just 1 week away from the start of spring camp. It'll almost be time to maybe preview a press conference with Ryan Day, Arthur Smith, Matt Patricia.
Wow.
Who knows who else? Like, that's got me pretty fired up. It's so close, can almost taste it, because March Madness for college football is nearly here, and we live in a world of madness.
That is correct.
And I don't know. That's just the way it is. He is television's Adam King. I greatly appreciate his time, insight, and thoughts wherever they take us. Yeah, you're welcome. This has been The Beat, presented by the Waterworks. I'm Austin Ward. We'll talk to you tomorrow.